Buddy, Patrick Steer here. Welcome back to another episode of In My Kitchen. Well, today I'm going to show you how to cook a restaurant quality meal. That's right. We're going to have loaded potatoes. Sometimes they're referred to as twice baked. I call them twice baked potatoes. And I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to do a prime rib with these potatoes. Doesn't that meat just look lovely? I picked this up on sale at Christmas time. It was $5 a pound. And many people don't know this prime rib is also where you get your ribeye steak. This is your ribeye steak that's cut off the back of the ribs here. Okay, so I'll show you how I prepare this later on in the video. For now, we're going to show you how to make twice baked potatoes. For ingredients, we're using sour cream, chives, and salt, and shredded cheese. And if you wanted to, you can add a little swine to it with some bacon. Just take some bacon, chop it up, fry it, drain the grease out, sprinkle it in at the last. We'll just fold it in with the cheese, and it just makes it taste lovely. All right, let me show you how you prepare your potatoes. I go to the store and buy the bulk potatoes. I get as big as I can get, and we're going to do 6 of them. 6 of them to a pound of sour cream, or just about a pound. So anyways, I'll show you what I do. I take the potato, and when I cook it, I decide which side's going to make a bottom and which side's going to make the top. So here we go. This is the top of the potato, and we're going to cut up on it. Yeah, just like this. Beautiful. All right. Then we just take our spoon, and we're going to carefully spoon out all the potatoes in here. You see that? You see how I'm doing that? You don't want to damage the shell because we're going to bake it again with all the stuff inside. It's just lovely. Jake the asshole, he made a great meal the other day. I'm just going to have to try it. But I'm waiting for my blood to come in from Jaren's website. I think I'm going to add a little blood to my steak tartare, and I want to thank Jake for the recipe. Okay. Let's just check that out. And this is what you want. You want to scoop it out without damaging the potato. And another thing you have to do this while the potato's hot, fresh out of the oven. Because the idea is we want as much as the water here to evaporate as possible. So I'll come back when I'm finished with scooping out all the potatoes. Back, everybody. You can see I scooped out all the potatoes. Yeah. I'm making a few more than 6 here, but you would use 6 to about a pound of sour cream. Okay, after I scooped them all out, now keep in mind I baked these at 350 for about, an hour and 10 minutes, because you want to make a nice crispy shell. Okay, so after baking them, I took them out of the oven right away and emptied them out. So this way, like I say, we want as much of the water in the potatoes to evaporate as possible. And once you do that, then you add, this is probably just a little over an 1/8 cup of chopped, or just under a 1/4 cup of chopped chives. We'll see how this looks here. And you want to go ahead and add this in now, because that's going to really make the potatoes real flavorful. Yep. Yeah, just lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I can smell it already. And there you go. Now we're just going to let this sit on the counter and cool off for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Come back occasionally and just stir it. Let some of that water evaporate. Okay. And then after we let it set for about 20 minutes and cool off here, we're going to put it in the ice box for about 20 minutes because we want the potatoes a little chilled when we mix in the sour cream and salt and everything else. And we'll be back when we get to that part. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and finish up now with the second step. A few things I forgot to mention. The potatoes, when I prick them at the top, I always select which the top of the potatoes is going to be, and I prick it right in the middle so that when I cut it out, I cut that part out. Okay? And remember, you're going to bake these and you're going to scoop these out just as soon as you pull one out of the oven, scoop it out, set this shell down, pull another one out, and you want to scoop these out that when they're hot to get most of the moisture out of the potatoes you can. Okay, and another thing I forgot to mention is I use fresh chives. Gotta use fresh chives. I don't give a shit if it's organic or not. That's just a scam for people that like to pay more. And I always support your local dairy. I do. Daisy makes wonderful sour cream. Okay, remember what I said. I use 6 bulk potatoes. These aren't the bag potatoes because they're too small. So I buy 6 bulk potatoes per pound of sour cream. You want to add maybe about 2/3 of the sour cream, mix it up, and then try it again. Okay, as many as you may know, you've seen this on my kitchen tour of my kitchen. I'll leave the link down below if you didn't see that video. You can get this on Amazon. And you know what? You can even use Charon Link so that poor guy can get 25 cents from Amazon. Pity for him. Anyways, we're going to go ahead, put our sour cream in there, and go ahead and mix this with the blender, and we'll be right back. Oh, wait, I wanted to mention something. I know right about now, a lot of you are down in the comment section, and you're just saying, well, potatoes, he's a potato. I'm sorry. Those other potatoes are full of shit, and these potatoes here are full of goodness. Okay, let's blend away. Ready, we're back. Okay, I blended this for about, 5 to 7 minutes and added my sour cream. And like I said, if you're going to do 6 large baker potatoes, you're going to use about 1 pound of sour cream. You know, just start out with about 3/4 of the container and then add more as you need it. You don't want to do too much because you don't want this real rich. But you don't want it flavorless either. Excuse me. I burped. And then, you know, it's really important to get enough salt in there because that's what brings out the other flavors of the sour cream and the chives and things like that. You know, so make sure you taste it. And, it just tastes wonderful. Just wonderful. Okay. Now, the last step here, we can add our cheese. I said we're going to have grated cheese. We're going to put about, a handful of grated cheese in there. And if you were going to add your bacon that you fried up earlier, you would add it now. And we don't use the blender on this part because we don't want to break up the cheese. All right, and we just fold in the cheese like this, okay? Just fold it in. There you go. Looking lovely. All right. There we go. And that's it. If you had bacon, you can put your bacon in there. And it's just lovely. Okay. Now the last step. And I make this the day before I have it planned for the meal. So I'm having the prime rib tomorrow. And I'm making the potatoes a day ahead of time. So this way all I have to do is put them in the oven and bake them for the second time. Ta-ta. All right. So our next step is you take your potato shell and a scoop of your potatoes, and you start at the ends and you fill the ends because you don't want to leave no air pockets in there. It's what you want to avoid on this step. So I'll start and I'll fill this in and make sure I don't have no air pockets. Yeah, this is just going to be lovely. Then we're going to flip it around to the other side. Make sure we don't have no pockets in there of air. Get it in there. There you go. You can see just slowly start filling the center now. There we go. Don't be afraid to use your hands. My hands are clean. Like I said, I'm not a dirty potato head. And these are delicious. Okay. And there you go. You filled one potato. And you just cap it off with a little bit. Let's get a little bit on there. And you cap it off with a little bit. And you put some paprika on it. Just like that. And it's ready for second baking. We're going to bake it for about, I would say an hour at 375. Maybe an hour and 10 minutes or so. But there you go. This just tastes lovely with some steak. I just can't tell you how good and delicious these are. Okay, we'll be back with the how to prepare your prime rib. We're back and we're going to start cooking the prime rib. For this recipe to be successful, everything has to be room temperature. From the beef broth I put in here, the celery, the onions. Make sure everything is room temperature. It's very important that the meat is also room temperature. In fact, I pulled the meat out at 7 a.m. this morning and just left it in its cryovac vacuum package. And just to get it room temperature. The prime rib has to be at room temperature in the center of the prime rib. Because we're just going to cook it for about 35 minutes at 550 degrees. If your oven doesn't go up to 550 degrees, 500 degrees is good enough. So therefore, everything's got to be room temperature. So I'm going to put this in about 10 minutes before I put my prime rib in the preheated oven, because I want all this juice to warm up. But all that's in here is a bed of celery and onions so that the prime rib is mostly above the edge of the pan. Okay? So, now let's get started with dressing the prime rib with spices. Jack, as you all know, I heated up my oven to 550 degrees. If yours only goes to 500, that's perfect. I heated it up a half an hour ago, and 15 minutes ago, I put that pan of vegetables and beef broth in the oven. I want that hot when I put my prime rib in the oven. Okay, now this prime rib has been sitting out in the cryovac bag since 7 a.m. We want it room temperature. If you've ever eaten at a great steakhouse, they never cook your steak cold. It's always room temperature when they cook it. This is what makes it so great and tender. Okay, for this recipe to work here, it's got to be room temperature. Okay? And we're going to put it in the oven, at a preheated oven at 550 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes per pound. So that means I'm going to leave this in there for about 40 minutes at 500 degrees. Then I'm going to shut the oven off and not open it for 2 hours. And it's going to sit there and slow cook in the rest of the heat in the oven for the 2 hours, and it will be ready. So I'm starting this about 2 hours and 40 minutes before I plan on serving dinner. Okay, to season it, it's a very simple seasoning. We're going to use Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to just cover this baby. We just want to cover it all. Oh yeah, that looks good. Alright. Cover it in Worcestershire sauce. Okay. Your next step is coarse sea salt. Now don't use regular granulated salt. Use coarse. And you can never use too much of this. This is what makes an outstanding crust on your prime rib. Okay? So we're going to put twice as much as you think you need on it. Okay? Like I say, I'm going to really load this up. You're going to be shocked. Going to kind of pat that salt in there. Like I said, you're going to use twice as much as you think you do. Alright. Get some on the bottom. Some on the sides. Alright. Some on the other side. That's lovely. Alright, we got our salt on there. Okay. Now we're going to put a little bit of garlic, granulated garlic. Okay. Here we go. And there we go. Some garlic on both ends. All the way around. There we go. Yes, sirree. Alright, I think, you know what? We need a little bit more salt. Trust me, this is not too much salt. Alright, and then just sprinkle a little bit of pepper. And there we go. That's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to go ahead and pull our pan out of the oven. Okay, we'll be right with you. And there we go. We got our pan out. Oh, it's steaming. You can see it's just started boiling the chicken broth and everything. And that's just what I want. And we're going to drop this on there. And it's going to go in the oven and cook for 40 minutes. I'm going to shut it off. And we're not going to touch it for 2 hours. Okay? We'll see you then. We're back. For tonight's dinner, we're having green beans. This should appease those vegans out there because these are steamed. I steamed them for about 20 minutes, you know. But you know what? I'm a carnivore. So I'm finishing these up in a pan of bacon. And there's about, I don't know, a tablespoon or two of bacon grease. And we're just going to throw them green beans in there. Heck with them vegans. And then we're going to finish frying them up for about 15 minutes. We'll be back and we'll be slicing up that prime rib and serving dinner. Hey, we're back. The green beans are done. They look delicious. Fried. What I did was I put a little bit of salt and pepper in with the green beans and with the bacon. And they're all fried up and they just taste delicious. Okay, here's the prime rib. Like I said, I cooked it for 40 minutes at 550 degrees. Got a nice, beautiful crust on it. It's going to be tasty. Okay, now the first step, I'm going to check. We should be at around somewhere close to 140 degrees in the center of this roast. So let's see what we got here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I see 133, 134, 136. Oh, this is just perfect. It's going to come up right around 138. That's just perfect. That means you're medium rare in the center of this roast. Okay, let's get to carving, shall we? First, I'm going to cut these strings off. I didn't show you this, but I put these strings on there. You can learn how to tie a butcher's knot on YouTube. Just search butcher's knot. Okay, and let's pull these strings off. It's very easy to do the butcher's knot. Trust me. Okay. Now, I got the butcher's knot, or the butcher's twine off. Next thing we're going to do, you can see the ribs right here. We're going to go ahead and remove the ribs to make this easy to slice. Now, sometimes when you buy it from your butcher, he will have removed the ribs and then tied them back on so you still have a standing rib roast. Because remember, without the ribs, you don't have a standing rib roast. All right, so that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just carving off the bones. And there you go. It's just about off. And this is a separate meal in itself, so don't let it go to waste. This is delicious. Okay. Get these. And there you go. The ribs are removed. All right, we're going to set those aside. Stand our rib roast back up. Then we're going to go ahead and slice it. And we should have medium rare. Medium rare is 140 in the center. Let's go ahead and slice this. And on the edges, we're going to have more done to well done. And we'll just, that crust is just beautiful. Oh, just look at that prime rib. Isn't that beautiful? There you go. Look at that beautiful medium rare prime rib. Okay, there you go. Look at that. Nice and pink. Okay, well, we'll come back and show you what it looks like on the plate. Here you go, everybody. A wonderful restaurant quality meal. You got beautiful prime rib, medium rare. You got the twice baked potato. And you got the green beans fried in bacon. Just yummy. One of my favorite meals. Well, this is Patrick Steer with another episode of In My Kitchen. Thanks for joining me. Ta-ta.